This is Bob from CenturyAutoAir.com. Today we are going to replace a pulley bearing inside an AC compressor clutch. Most of your bearings come out the same way. GM's, Denso's, some may come out through the front of the pulley, some may come out at the back, so you do have to pay attention to that. General Motors pulleys are the most difficult to do, so that is the one we're going to choose to do today. You will notice that the pulley bearing itself is staked down into the clutch, making it look like it's not removable. Those stakings are not as strong as you may think and can be pressed out. We will go to the press in a moment and demonstrate this. However, a couple tips. When you press from behind and you push this bearing out, it will deform the clutch and ruin it. So when you mount it on the press, you want it flat on a piece of metal until that bearing breaks the stakings. Once it does that, then we can move our plates out so that the bearing will drop out. On the other side of it is when you put it back in, you want to make sure to support the actual area itself that the bearing lands into so that you don't deform it the other way. So let's go to the press and change this bearing. So we're ready to press out the bearing. Keep in mind you can do this in a vise, or you don't have to have an actual press. You might have to get a little creative, but it can be done. So to start, we have our press plates right there, and we're going to set our pulley right on top. Find some pieces of metal and things that act as a pusher. And we'll go ahead. Now when you press it out, you'll hear it pop. Sometimes. So I'm actually pushing the bearing until it hits the stop plates themselves. Now we reposition it so that the bearing can be pushed out. By doing these two steps, we're saving this pulley from distorting. That seems to be the number one problem people have when they change these pulleys. Reach under and we'll grab the bearings. Bearing is now out of the pulley. The stakings have been removed by the bearing itself. To reinstall it, since we are not going to restake that bearing in there, although there are special tools to do that, we have found it to not be necessary. Simply take some red Loctite, put a liberal coat of it around the bearing itself, go ahead and set it back in there. We then take our press plates, put them back together. And I have a little spacer that I put right under where that bearing sits. Once again, we can distort the pulley itself, so we're not going to want to do that. We get it all set up straight and level, and I will go ahead and get a pilot to push that in straight. So we're all set to put the new bearing back in. We have it Loctited. What I've taken is another old bearing that lines up perfectly on there because it will be going just below the level of that pulley. It makes it easier to get all back apart. But use whatever you can find that doesn't do any damage to the pulley. So just go ahead and push it back in. Make sure it goes in straight. If it's taking too much effort, stop. You don't want to damage it. As you get down near the end, it'll simply stop flat. And the pulley bearing is in there. That Loctite will set up. When you just be careful putting it back on the compressor, the bearing will not move ever. It'll have to be pressed back out, so don't worry about the stakings. Once again, this is Bob from CenturyAutoAir.com. These bearings and various parts are available for compressor service at our website. Take a look. Thank you.